Welcome to the Dextego Playbook Show, where every month we talk about ways you can level up your sales game with AI while keeping it human. I'm here with Ben Henson, co-founder and CRO leader at Pill. Ben, welcome to the show.
Augusta, thank you so much for having me, man. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you here. And can you tell us a little bit about your journey so far?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm a career sales guy who got the founder bug a couple years ago after leaving the corporate world, but my entire career has actually spanned just a ton of different startups. So I when early on in the late 90s when I first started working, I started selling lead generation to contractors over pagers, believe it or not. I mean that the
Wow.
internet didn't even really exist all the way back then. And I never left. I just kept going, staying in that intersection between sales and marketing and just learning and really loving the marketing organizations, but always wanting to be in a supportive role, which sales really accomplished for me.
Well, that's fantastic. I love that sweet spot. Salespeople hate marketing, marketing hates salespeople, but we are in the middle and we're like, come on, guys. You cannot
Hey, we
live
love
without
them
each
all,
other.
you know? Yeah, yeah. I got nothing but love and admiration. It's such a hard job. It is so hard. And it's always been one of these things. Marketing's this interesting category where everyone thinks they're good at marketing. Everyone
Yeah,
thinks that they could do it. So it just becomes this category where it's like, is this a cost? Is this a revenue generator? Are they doing it well? Are they not? And I just have watched this entire market and landscape evolve over the last 20, 25 years, and it's been just such a fun ride.
yeah, that is fantastic. And I love the word you just used, evolve. And that is actually one of the first questions that I have for you. It's the evolving role of the buyer enablement. As sales increasingly shifts from to buyer enablement, what skills or mindsets do you think modern reps and leaders need most to engage decision makers actually meaningfully today?
That's a layered question and such a good one. I think it really starts with what you were talking about at the beginning, which is how can we use AI and these other new tools to be more human? And in the ever evolving world of sales, one of the most critical pieces, in my opinion, is to have high emotional intelligence. If you have high EQ, but you're using the tools in a demonstrable way from an operational perspective, um, from a research perspective. So you've mapped accounts, you understand who your buyer is, you understand what those pain points. You did the work, you did your homework. Now it allows you to be more human and to shine in that very authentic way.
That is fantastic, 100%. It's about the human behind the machine, right? It doesn't matter if you are the smartest person, but if you can't communicate that, it's like Einstein. Einstein, the one of the biggest IQs in human history. Emotional intelligence, not his strong suit.
Yeah, yeah, it's just completely true. And I think back to all of the mentors that I've had over the years, and my primary mentor, the no number one guy that I've had, is a man named Scott Vaughn. And Scott Vaughn has been a CMO many times over. He now works in advisory and executive capacity for many organizations today. And he was the first person that ever said what's become cliche, which is companies don't buy, people do. And so, how
Mhm.
can we create these real connections, these human connections? Because you want to trust me and you want to know that I have subject matter expertise and you want to know that I have your best interests at heart. And if I do, if I have all of that, man, I can't imagine a reason you wouldn't want to work with me. I can't imagine you wouldn't want to start holding hands and walk down a path and see what we can accomplish together. But if you have low EQ, if you're cold and closed off and not open, even with maybe a little vulnerability, which is very hard for sellers to have in their
Mhm.
process, the conversation shifts and the interest shifts because people are attracted to people and people are attracted to those who have that magnetic charisma, confidence. All of that is built from using the tools to feel prepared. If you're prepared, if you've done your work, you're going to have more confidence. If you have more confidence, you're going to be able to tell that story with conviction. If you tell that story with conviction, people are going to want to follow you. They just will.
Yes, that is fantastic. That differentiates so much top performers from bottom performers. When you see that they believe in the product, they believe in themselves, they know how to communicate that without sounding, egotistical or, that but you have the solution to that client and
That's
you can
it.
solve that. And what you mentioned about authenticity, about being yourself, that is the second question I have for you is in the topic of making conversations count. And I've seen that you are advocate for the power of thoughtful, authentic business conversations. In a world of, not being in person, of these asynchronous tools and busy buyers, what does a high impact sales conversation look like in 2025?
We've talked about the evolution of the market, and we've talked about how sellers need to stay evolved. But at that same time, what's happened is the buyers themselves have evolved as well. And 5, 10, 15 years ago, I don't think that the buyers in any category, whether it's IT buyer, marketing buyer, an executive buyer, any of them, I think that they were more willing to be led down a path. And at some point, maybe it was sort of like the COVID era, slightly before, the buyer said, wait a second, I'm the one with the checkbook. I'm the one who's actually paying the bill here. So if that's true, I'm going to also kind of follow my own path. And that
Hmm.
maturity curve of their ability to learn to go do that research that they need to do to be able to evaluate the solutions that are most equipped for their problem, that choke point, I think that we have swung that pendulum over pretty heavily to a buyer centric world. And part of the challenge as a salesperson in this environment is we have limited attention, we have limited time to be able to capture that attention and sort of have these meaningful conversations. And some of that, maybe this goes back to a little piece of that vulnerability, but in some real ways, sometimes the best conversations don't happen human to human. Sometimes
Hmm.
the best conversations happen in an asynchronous way. Not as a plug for Peel, my company, but as a plug for enabling asynchronous learning. The more that you can give information, which we've seen by people removing gates or forms on content, by giving greater access to information and creating it in digestible chunks in addition to long form. In each of these different ways, we're saying, hey, buyer, we're going to trust you to get the information that you're looking for, but we still have a responsibility to be able to enable them to give them the correct amount of information with the correct context of that content to be able to tell that story well. So they then can say, you know what? This does look interesting, and I do want to have that conversation, but it's my belief, it's our belief that flat file content, static content, you get a download, but did you get anything more? Did they even read it? Was it helpful? Do learners really want to start at the beginning, go to the middle, and end at the end? I don't think so. I know I don't.
Hmm.
I want to hear about that thing that I am really interested in, and then I might open up my aperture. I might expand my view because I say, okay, well, that could solve it. What else can it do? How else could it
Hmm.
work? What else would that potentially look like?
100%. And also comes with that experience, right? You said people buy from people. And at the end of the day, if I do have a human being that, well, is giving me that demo or is solving me that problem directly, then we can expand. And they did it because they understand my priorities and they took that in first place. They didn't wait until the last minute of the call to say, oh, by the way, the thing that you actually wanted to buy is this. And then you are like, oh man, I'm wasting 30 minutes of my day and it's not even telling me what I really want.
I feel like I'm getting sold.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to get sold, but people do want help buying, right?
Hmm.
And that's just a paradigm shift. Is like, I don't want to be sold, but if I know I'm going to do it, then I do want help. I want to make the best decision. I used to have this joke for a bunch of heavy IT infrastructure in particular, a heavy bunch of security type infrastructure where the wrong decision can become a resume producing activity, which means people get fired. You get fired. Like there's an old fashioned saying nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. It was safe bet. You would just sort of, right? Like that was what
Hmm.
technologists used to sort of like, that was their frame. That
Yeah.
was their frame. But that world doesn't exist anymore. That's not, we don't wear suits. We don't sort of, go into these, into these sort of experiences. Like we've made
Huh?
ourselves more authentic to the benefit of everyone, but the transaction still needs to happen.
Hmm.
So now it's how can I deliver my message without the messenger? How can I not sell but help buy?
Hmm.
And those are nuanced differences, but man, they're the key between good and great. And good, man, good is a horrible place to live. I mean, who wants to be good?
Yeah.
Not
Being
me. Not
mediocre is
me,
not the
man.
place to be.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that brings me actually to another question that is, sales enablement in practice. So many enablement programs nowadays are blending tech and human coaching. What is the balance and what it should like when companies are deploying AI tools, but they still have coaches? How do we manage that?
Yeah, I mean, this really comes back to that confidence issue. Is you have anyone on the planet today, if they are working, all they really want, yes, pay, yes, benefits, yes, sort of work-life balance, all that kind of stuff, whatever those triggers are. But at the end of the day, they just want to sit at the dinner table in their kitchen, looking across the table at their person and just say, hey, today was a good day. Today I did something that was interesting. Today I did something that moved us forward. And enablement is that tool to get there. Enablement is like flossing your teeth or eating vegetables. It doesn't always feel great in the moment. And a lot of times it's going to bring up that vulnerability. There's that word again of sort of like the realness of the human experience. But if you can do that in such a way where you say, damn it, I'm going to do this because I want to win. I want to be great. I want to go out and sort of do my job in a way that it's never been done before. I want to be the Michael Jordan of selling and supporting and enabling my customers. That comes with your own enablement. It's the reps when nobody's reps, repetitions, not reps, representatives, but reps that the reps do. It's that process when nobody's watching you, the work that you're doing that gets you great. And asynchronous tools give you that because think about what's that standard flow today is you go to the meeting, sales enablement leader, the CRO, the product person who put together this story. Hey, here it is. Here's the materials. Here's the content. Here's how we think about it. Everybody's in there. They're drinking their coffee. They're goofing off. Maybe they're texting or slacking with their colleague, making jokes. And then what? And then they leave. And then they have to go do the 50 things that comprise their day job.
Hmm.
So if you can enable asynchronous tools, Talkable is one of our core products, has a very robust enablement tool, and it's because we know this. We know this one thing is that the organization at some level put together all of this story. Story equals brand. They want you to tell it correctly. They want you to tell it in a way that emulates that brand vision for their customer base.
Yes.
If you can do that in an asynchronous way, meaning self work, doing it by myself when nobody's watching me, getting those reps in, getting that consistency, getting that language right, getting my pace right, getting my timing right, getting my story right, getting my conviction right, all of that stuff happens through repetition, typically by myself because it's not going to happen in a group setting. We don't have time for
Hmm.
that. It's not going to happen with that one enablement person who's on the team or, any kind of expectation like that. But those same people, those same executives and leaders still have that expectation that you're going to deliver it and deliver it picture perfect every time when they're listening to your gone calls and going, Augusto, like, what are you doing, man? Like you missed huge chunks of the story. You missed the
Hmm.
problem statements. You missed the pressure points. You missed the proper discovery. You missed the and you're going, well, crap, I only had a 30-minute, and it's like, no, man, that is your whole ass job. That is your work to be the best version of you can be in this professional context. That's enablement, baby. It's sexy, it's hot, but it's gotten this sort of like human resources. Oh, I got to do this damn like security training. What is phishing? What is social engineering? What is what is like my sexual harassment train? Oh, like
Yeah.
don't be a dick. Okay, got it. Like it's gotten lumped in that same category. It's gotten lumped in that like
Hmm.
I have to do this for my job. False. That is bullshit. And I use that language with intention. Like do the work to go be great. And that work happens by yourself and it only happens by yourself. And if you think anything else, you should probably get a new job. And
Hmm.
I mean it that sincerely.
100%. I could not agree more with you. That is something that I always like to tie up with growth mentality. It's you against you. It doesn't matter if you have a tool, you don't, if you have to go read old books like 20-year-old, 40-year-old
Yeah.
spin selling methods. It doesn't matter. It's you going after, if you want to be the best, there's nothing else. It's just like companies either dying or expanding. And that with the rap as well. You're either a top performer or you need to get there. There's
Yeah.
no, oh, okay, I'm okay being in the middle. That's the people that you don't want in your team.
Yeah, man. Preach. Preach. Yeah. Complete agreement. Violent agreement.
Amazing, Ben. And that actually brings me to think about something else in analytics and signals. Sometimes we are so overwhelmed with everything that appears on a call, or you check your CRM, then you check your call recording, and they give you a bunch of different things and ideas for you to act on. With analytics everywhere, how can sales teams cut through the noise to actually surface generally actionable signals that lead to better decisions and buying experience?
Yeah, I mean, another really important topic. Over the last 30 years, we went from not having an internet, like the internet wasn't there, it didn't exist. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have constant access to information. And that was a hard period of time to be able to be informed about what we were doing. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you fast forward to here, Q4 2025, we have so much of those things that it's become increasingly difficult. And they have, in my opinion, become very shiny objects that are largely ineffective unless you really do that individual work. Because just like a quick review of a timeline, it was, where did we start? We started out with a form. Give me your name, your email, your title, your company. That was kind of cool. And then we went to, maybe we'll include some custom questions on that form. And then we went into, oh, well, ABM is an interesting sort of, what if we only were generating leads from these group of companies? And then we went into this place where, well, maybe we need more greenfield. We have to sort of broaden that, expand that out a little bit. So the predictive companies sort of started coming on the scene. Well, there's like end of life on this, so that they're probably going to be in renewal over here, or this is sort of like their normal cycle of when they live, or all of these different things. And then intent came on. Well, here's sort of like organizationally a bunch of information. Peel was formed very much at the person level because we are incredible believers in the person. And so, what I believe is all of these signals, all of these data points are directional. It's more of a compass than GPS. Go kind of in this direction, this market, this industry, probably these companies within it are good ideas. But if you can get to those individuals, so that would be at its most basic level, how can I do this free? Go on LinkedIn, follow those
Mm-hmm.
executives, follow those senior leaders. What are they talking about? What are they trying to promote out there? Are they surfacing new content? Are they talking about new acquisitions that they've just gone through? Are they talking about new product drops that they've just deployed? Are they talking about new markets that they're going into? People want to tell you what's happening. Marketers in particular, their entire job is to talk about all the cool stuff they're doing and how amazing it is over here, on this grassy green sort of Kentucky white fence. I mean, look at this place. It's unbelievable. Come join us. They're telling you what they care about. They're telling you what they're thinking. And 99% of the time, the things that they're talking about also have budget associated to them. They also have initiatives behind them, and marketing becomes this point in time where the preponderance of access to information in many ways has crippled people, and they feel I have too much information, I can't go. Go to the people, hear what
Hmm.
they're saying, listen to what they're saying, and you will be able to what press releases, what 10K announcements. 10K is this sort of annual ongoing delivery of information that
Hmm.
that they have to give, assuming it's public companies. So in all of these different ways, LinkedIn, press releases, 10Ks, all of these different places become these honey holes for learning truly what they are versus what somebody's trying to sell you. This predictive score, this intent piece over here. Let me tell you about this. That's directional. That's a compass. But to hone in, to get that right answer, to understand the transactional value of an organization, you simply have to pick your head up and pay attention to what they're talking about today. Today.
Yes, sir. You have the right info. You know where to find it. It's just get out of the couch,
Do
put
the work.
stop on that Netflix series, and learn how to be better. Learn how to be the best. You have now the perfect place to get it. So you just gotta go ahead and do it.
Do the work, baby. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's nothing to it but to do it.
And Ben, understanding here a bit about your experience, your leadership, and like team motivation, you have built and led a high-performing sales team for a while now. How do you foster a culture where frontline feedback, experimentation drive continuous improvement and innovation to the team?
We appeal some of our core values were to have a spirit of playfulness and experimentation. It's built directly into our core values. We care about that deeply because of the things we were talking about earlier. Marketing is so hard. Selling
Hmm.
is so hard. There is no silver bullet. There's a Gatling gun in a lot of cases, right? It's like you got to do a lot of things to a lot of different places. I'm not talking about a
Hmm.
spam cannon. I'm not talking about just sort of inundating people with a crappy message. I'm talking about getting those reps in and being in a vulnerable, loving state while you're doing it. And as a sales leader, as a lover of people, as a lover of people specifically that work with me, the more that I can do to lean into that playfulness, that spirit of experimentation, and give that to them, the more effective I think we can all be. And then I read a long time ago, I can't remember if it's actually called servant leadership or if it's just about servant leadership, but it's this idea that all of the great leaders lead from the front. They do the work first. They get those reps in first. They make that call first. They understand how to teach because they've done it, and they've done it recently. And I
Hmm.
think recency bias and your fear of sort of once you're in an ivory tower of like getting back in with the foot soldiers is misguided. You need to be in there until it's over, and you need to be in the mix. You need to be chopping it up with everybody and sort of going in and going forward, and be okay making mistakes in front of people. Be okay misspeaking at times. Be okay with being wrong and learning from wherever a great source of information comes in. I think you need to validate it. I think you need to make sure that you agree with it. I think you need to agree that the tone and emotion
Hmm.
behind it is accurate. But if you can do that, if you can live your life, I mean, some of my greatest teachers are my kids, and they're 4 and 8. They're 4 and 8, man, and they're teaching me lessons every single day of my life. So why would I not pay attention to wherever I can?
Hmm. Yes, that's beautiful. Leading from the front and guys, this is how you do it because I've done it. Here's the proven method, and just go on and do it yourselves. And I think that's something that children teaches us, that is one of the most beautiful things in life is curiosity. Do you remember the last time you actually picked up a controller of whatever it was and just started clicking all the buttons to see what it do? That's exactly what we need to do when you're trying new tools, right? Go on, play, understand what it for what it actually works for.
Yeah.
You can start by getting better and say, oh, okay, I can mix and match this. I can use this strategy. I can make things a little bit different. And that actually brings me to our second to last question, that is aligning sales, marketing, and success. So you have a whole spectrum of pre-sales, sales, and post-sales. And talking about this as marketing, customer success, account executives increasingly overlap. Sometimes we're doing all three of them. What are some of the best practices you've seen for aligning these teams to deliver a seamless customer journey?
Everybody has a job to do, and their job is mapped to their job description, but we're one team, we're the revenue team. And people get really excited about new logos, but your next 10 customers and your next $10 million in revenue are actually within your existing base today. You need to just
Mm-hmm.
go find ways to get wider and deeper within that organization. You need to continue to evangelize within that organization. You need to push people up at your clients and help them be successful, help their achievements be recognized, help their
Mm-hmm.
achievements be seen within their organization because they also want to go home at the end of their night and sit across from their person and say, today was a good day. Today I moved the needle. I did something cool. And if they can think about your firm as they're saying that, man, you've won. So as we think about marketing, customer success, that's the revenue team.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we have this whole like attribution and sort of buying teams, and how are we going to do that? And the seller wants to talk to this guy and not that guy, and so on and so forth. Stop that. Stop it. We're here to win. We're here to be successful, and our success is entirely and completely dependent on one thing, our client success. That is the only thing that matters, is the only thing that goes from good to great. You can sell deals, but your
Mm-hmm.
attrition's going to suck, your churn's going to be high. It's just not going to be fun. It becomes sloggy and sort of you're stuck in this mucky kind of place that ultimately just kind of stops moving in the right way. Or you can grease those skids and you can really sort of get going and create some rhythm and create the world's greatest drug for any company, which is momentum. Momentum. Like, I want to be the cool kid stable. I want to push
Mm-hmm.
this thing forward. And all of that happens from success of others. Success of others is what matters. Who does that? Marketing, sales, customer success, jointly,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
enablement.
Preach. I like to think about analogies. Imagine like building, and enablement is not just the basis, but is also the janitor that is making that building stay steady every day and everything
Hmm.
is beautiful. It's thanks to enablement connecting everybody. And
Yeah.
man, I had this conversation with my CEO yesterday about, increasing our pipeline and our sales with the other products that we sell with our current customers. Because, we have more than 1,000 customers. We already have a big base of clients. It's
Yep.
just upselling and selling something different to them. Always finding that specific that can move the needle. And
Yes.
Ben, that was 6 questions about sales and AI. But now I have a special and extra question that I did not mention to you before.
Okay.
Desert island situation.
Hit me.
You are on an island, pick Hawaii, Curacao, whatever place you like. But Australia is too big, but pick a desert island and it's just you alone. You can pick, you have internet, you have Three AI tools. What are you bringing to that island?
Just three AI tools.
Three AI tools.
Well, definitely ChatGPT. I mean, there's an inexorable connection between me and GPT these days. I use Perplexity. I use a couple of the other ones, but to me, I kind of started there and I'm so deep now, I can't even unwind it.
Hmm.
I will actually, I'm going to pull one up that I just started using, but I'm actually committed to it. And in particular, I'm not going to be able to figure out what this name is. In particular, well, whatever. It's a meditation app that is guided meditation. If I'm on a desert island, I'm going to want to sort of keep my head right. And then the other one, the opposite but similar, which is AI tool called Rosebud, and it's a journaling app. So I'm on a desert island. I've got my entertainment through GPT. I've got whatever that meditation app is that's doing some sort of guided meditation. So I'm staying cool while I'm waiting to be rescued. And then journaling through Rosebud, which I've always wanted to be great at journaling. I'm still not great at journaling, but I found that the AI prompting me and asking me and then giving me a little bit of feedback on it and hey, do I want to go deeper on that? Do I not? Etc. That whole process has been a really cool experience. I'm gonna flash some peace signs and stay really cool and mellow while I wait for the cargo ship to sort of come by and see my help made out of coconuts and seashells on the beach.
That is fantastic, Ben. Well, thank you so much. Just to make a little summary on what we talk about here today, if you want to be the best, it's up to you. The tools are there, the data is there. Just get out of your comfort zone and become the best version of yourself. Either you are marketing, sales, customer success, BDR, go out there and do it. Dextego is here to help you. AI sales coach, personalized to teach you how to give that better value proposition, to understand exactly where you're missing, where your tone is not where it's supposed to be, your emotions, and that you're actually selling what you actually sell. You're not selling something else. So thank you so much again, Ben. It's a pleasure talking to you. This has been one of the best podcasts that we had so far, and I hope to catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Augusto. Thanks for the invitation. We'll talk to you, my friend.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye now.